Well, it's Monday night, and time once again for Voiceover Body Shop. Our guest tonight is Tish Hicks.
Right over there.
Right over there from the VODOJO. We're going to talk about the path you need to be on your voiceover journey. And in tech news?
Well, a couple of cool things I've discovered. Some cool stuff with loop backing and using Source Connect now on a standalone app. Things that some of you guys might care about.
Cool. And we've got some other tech questions to answer on this very show with incredible adeptness. We'll be right back. Stay tuned for Voiceover Body Shop.
Two men, twin sons from different mothers, with a passion for voiceover recording technology and the desire to make recording easy for voice actors everywhere, together in one place. George Whittam, the home studio engineer to the stars, a Virginia Tech grad with an unmatched knowledge of all the latest gear and technology in voiceover today. Dan Leonard, the home studio master, a voiceover actor with over 30 years experience in broadcasting and recording, and a no-holds-barred, myth-busting attitude for teaching you how easy it is. Together, to bring you all the latest technology, the superstars of voiceover today, and leading the discussion on how to make the most of your voiceover business. This is Voiceover Body Shop.
Voiceover Body Shop is brought to you by VoiceOverEssentials.com, home of Harlan Hogan signature products. Source Elements, makers of Source Connect, Source Connect Pro, and Source Connect Now. VO2GoGo.com, everything you need to become a successful voice artist. VoiceOver Extra, your daily resource for VO success. The VODOJO, take your voiceover career all the way. And by VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your voice actor website shouldn't be a pain in the butt.
And now, live from their super secret multimedia studio in Sherman Oaks, California, here are George Whittam and Dan Leonard.
Good evening. I'm Dan Leonard.
And I'm George Whittam.
Yes. And this is Voiceover
Body Shop.
or VOBS. All right. Well, Tish Hicks is going to be joining us in about half an hour. We're going to talk about the VODOJO and her career and all sorts of cool stuff. So that's coming up in a little bit. We have tech news. We've got tech questions. If you've got a question for us, throw it in the chat room. Although we don't know who's running the chat room tonight because Jack's not here.
Hopefully somebody.
Hopefully Anthony is out there, or somebody, or you'll run it.
I'll keep an eye out.
Keep an eye because I can't seem to get it on here. Anyway, if you've got a question, throw it in the chat room and somebody will see it. Hopefully one of us, and we will answer it here. We like to say on the air, but we're not really on the air.
On the stream. The stream is what we call it nowadays.
Rolling to the sea.
It'll be on the stream.
That's right. So lots of cool stuff, and we're here to make sure you learn as much as you can about the voiceover business every week here on Voiceover Body Shop. But right now, it's time for...
And now, the VoiceOver Extra VOBS News, the latest and most comprehensive voiceover industry news. Brought to you live.
For September 26, Voiceover Extra News, scam season drags on. Scammers and hackers, whatever their motives, are here to stay, and hardly a week passes by without a warning about a new ripoff circulating in the voiceover world. Just last week, World Voices Organization reported a scammer is using the name of a former WOVO board member and the WOVO email address to lure voice talent into a scam assignment. It's fishy from the onset, with broken English, but the job pays $800 to $900, and the scammer gives the location of a rented studio near the targeted voice talent. Are people biting? Apparently so. Otherwise, why would scammers keep doing it?
I know. Armin Hierstetter, actually, or he likes Hierstetter.
Hierstetter.
Is it Hierstetter? I rehearsed this, and I even know German. I don't know his name. The CEO of VODOJO, the online casting service, is digitally shaking his head. He implores you to use your brain. It's the best protection available from scams. In a new article on VoiceOver Extra, Armin shares how to use your brain to spot and avoid scams, and how to spot and deal with clients who are slow to pay or who want to stiff you. First, Armin, realize that scammers are not interested in your work. They are solely interested in your money and want to trick you into sending it to them.
But here's the thing to remember. No matter how convincing a scammer's approach might be, as a voiceover talent, it's you who gets the money, not the other way around. The most common scam is the so-called client to overpay you and then request a refund of a certain amount after you cash his check. Well, your bank might initially accept the client's check when you deposit it, but soon after you send the client the refund, that check will bounce.
So never, ever, ever send money. It's always a scam. Armin also encourages or urges you to do what's called the due diligence on a company you've not dealt with before. Does the company give you contact details which you can easily verify? Be a little suspicious. If you have to ask for those details, you should be suspicious for sure.
Yeah.
And stay away from clients and insist on sending you money via Western Union. Armin, he warns you that scammers use it because it's easy for them to hide anonymity.
In the article, Armin also shares how to avoid being ripped off by new clients, for instance, by asking for a partial payment up front, watermarking your auditions, and clearly stating your payment terms. You'll want to examine this article and put it to use right away. Find it now at voiceoverextra.com, along with many hundreds of additionally helpful articles. And it's all free at VoiceOver Extra, your daily resource for voiceover success. Well done. It was just wild getting this. Everybody was reporting to us at World Voices that someone was using this former board member's name.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, he's going to ruin our good name. I'm like, just send out a memo and says, it's not us. And if somebody sees that from World Voices, we don't hire people.
Right.
So it's got to be silly.
That's nuts.
But there's so many scams going on out there. Just use your noodles, okay?
Yeah. Ask around.
Yeah.
That's what we have social media for.
Yes. So what's up in tech?
Up in tech. Well, a couple things have come along that are interesting to me. I got my usual client texting me like the second we go on the air with questions, so I got to deal with that in a minute. But other than that, tech, the cool things I've discovered this week that I really thought were kind of neat were, for one, if you're using a Steinberg audio interface, namely the UR series, we've mentioned them before.
Yeah, they're great.
The UR12, UR22, on and on and on up the food chain. Even the lowly UR12, which is only like under $80 online, you can now do loopback. What does that mean? Who cares? There's a little in the driver for the software.
Right.
Let me be clear. You can plug and play this thing now. You don't need to install a driver. Even on Mac, you don't have to install a driver. But if you do install their driver, in the driver window, there's a little checkbox. It's literally the only option that there is in the UR12, and that is to turn on loopback. So what do you use that for? If you're done recording a take and you're doing your session over phone patch, aka Skype, or any online Zoom, system that you're using your computer for, now you can do that thing that clients beg of you or demand of you, which is playback.
Play that back. Let me hear that take
back, because I wasn't paying attention. I was on my phone.
I was ordering lunch.
And I was not listening. So would you play that back while we pay you not for that time? Yes, you do have to do this sometimes. So now you can. You don't have to have any extra gear. You don't have to jerry-rig it with extra software. You don't have to run patch cables. It just works. Check the box, turn on loopback, and when you play it back, they will hear the playback on Skype or Source Connect Now or IPDTL, whatever system you're using, it will work. So that is awesome.
It is. I mean, awesome.
You used to have to go a little bit further up the price food chain to do that.
Yeah, but the UR12 is not expensive.
No, not expensive, and it actually sounds good. The quality of the preamps.
All new interfaces sound good.
They pretty much do.
Yeah.
There are very few that I would say are really bad. That's almost a thing of the past.
Yeah.
The other thing that popped up on my radar is what actually happened this morning. I was using Source Connect Now, or attempting to, and it was not working as expected. It was not working well with Chrome, which is a frustrating experience because, it requires Chrome.
Right.
It has to work on Chrome. So what I found out from Robert over at Source Elements is that they've released still in beta form, but they've released a version of Source Connect now that runs in a standalone app. So you don't have to have Chrome running, or you don't have to deal with Chrome.
Just
you don't
click
have
on just click on the program and it's there.
Yes,
cool.
It's an app on your dock. Chrome no longer is an issue. Why is Chrome an issue sometimes? Well, because it updates itself automatically. Imagine if your Windows or your Mac OS were to continuously upgrade or update on you
without
asking you,
yeah,
breaking stuff. You guys know how much it breaks stuff. This happens in Chrome, so it can immediately affect your use of anything that runs on Chrome, like IPDTL, Source Connect Now, Session Link Pro, VODOJO call, blah blah blah, on and on. So this is a great workaround for Source Connect. So go check it out. If you log into your Source Elements console, and in the download section, you'll now see there's in the drop downs where it says, what version of software do you want to use? What platform are you on, Mac or Windows? It will now tell you can download Source Connect now. Go check it out. It's totally free.
Cool.
So,
all right.
Cool.
All right. Well, we've got a lot more tech stuff to come up, in our next segment. So stay tuned for that and your questions right after these incredibly important messages.
As a voice talent, you have to have a website. But what a hassle getting someone to do it for you. And when they finally do, they break or don't look right on mobile devices. They're not built for marketing and SEO. They're expensive. You have limited or no control. And it takes forever to get one built and go live. So what's the best way to get you online in no time? Go to voiceactorwebsites.com. Like our name implies, voiceactorwebsites.com just does websites for voice actors. We believe in creating fast, mobile-friendly, responsive, highly functional designs that are easy to read and easy to use. You have full control. No need to hire someone every time you want to make a change. And our upfront pricing means you know exactly what your costs are ahead of time. You can get your VoiceOver website going for as little as $700. So if you want your voice actor website without the hassle of complexity and dealing with too many options, go to voiceactorwebsites.com, where your VO website shouldn't be a pain in the you-know-what.
VO2GoGo.com. Everything you could possibly need to be a successful voiceover artist. VO2GoGo.com's voiceover curriculum is a 5-time winner of Backstage Magazine's Reader's Choice Award for Best VO Classes and Best VO Teacher, David H. Lawrence 17th. It's 36 classes online or in person across a year-long course, featuring not just classes in the art of voiceover, but also in the commerce and science of running your voiceover business. And each month's class day includes a workout class for all participants. Unlock the entire curriculum at once. Over 45 hours of training, videos, audio samples, and live workouts where you work on mic. Get more details and sign up for the pro membership to save money at vo2gogo.com/VOBS. That's vo2gogo.com/VOBS. vo2gogo.com. Everything you need to be a successful voice artist. We'll be right back.
You're watching VOBS.TV. I don't know why. It's crazy what they do here.
Man, there's one show that I can't miss. It's called VOBS. And a lot of people are like, VOBS? What is that? That is BS about VO. And I love VO. How much BS is going to be in this show? There's only one way to find out, baby.
Alrighty, we're back here on VoiceOver Body Shop. Yeah, the teleprompter runs a little fast sometimes,
but it is a commercial. So you need to get through.
I had to get all that copy in there, and that's what professionals do. They get the copy in, doing it live. Yeah, I've actually been doing stuff on Pandora lately, which is a lot of fun.
Oh, no kidding. You got on their roster?
I got on their roster, and they've been sending me stuff, and it's cool because it's like old radio stuff, 30-second spots for car dealers or for different products and stuff. And
so it feels like you're doing radio production again, or radio?
I'm just doing the raw stuff. They're like,
reads,
no, we don't want you screwing with it.
Yeah, no, they're pretty
Little
strict.
clue there, guys. They don't want you screwing with it.
No, they're pretty strict about that. I've had many clients who are on the roster, and they're always telling me, they don't want me to do anything. What am I going to do?
Right.
So,
well, talking about doing things, it's now time for...
Nicely done, dude.
DawView 2017.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, let's take a look at how to remove what George likes to refer to as transients, and I like to refer to as spikes, which are essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
So if we could go to DawView and take a look at this. Is it not on? Oh, okay, there we go.
If you're not on the right network, it won't work.
Yeah.
What Wi-Fi connection are you on?
I should be on.
You're on the right one.
I'm on the right one.
Still no go?
It was working before.
We've been having trouble with this particular one lately.
Let me
Just
see.
do a restart on that.
Got it.
He's got it.
You
He's
got
got it. All right.
Woo, don't close it.
I'm
Just
not closing.
minimize it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
yeah.
So let's get us in front of it here. Here we are, right here. Okay. Well, it's kind of split off there, but what you can see here are there we go. That's much better. What we have here are transients, and transients are when you get a spike in your waveform. And it's too loud, or it'll overmodulate or something along those lines. So what we want to do is we want to reduce it individually. Now, the easy way to do it is to just set a limiter to -3, and it will take all those peaks down to -3, which is probably pretty simple.
Right.
But sometimes you'll be going through in your editing. How do you get it to go where you want it to be, even with everything else?
Maybe you want a little more finesse than using a limiter.
If you're like
squashing
me and you're such a perfectionist and you're like, okay, I got to take a look.
Or if they say strictly no processing.
Right.
Like-
But this, you can get away with this with strictly no
This
process.
is not processing. This is mixing. This
Right.
is engineering.
Right. So if you've got a spike here, real easy to fix this. In Twisted Wave, all you do is hit the F key, take it down 1 dB, and do that a couple of times until it's at the right height and it's not overmodulating.
Yeah, if you set it to 1 dB, you can just hit F, enter, F, enter, F, enter. And
Exactly.
it will just keep reducing
It's
by
a
one.
it's a lot easier that way. And interestingly, I remember Pat Fraley pointing this one out a while ago. But again, the same thing. F key, apply.
You can just hit enter. You don't even have to mouse over to apply.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then you got, this is a nasty one here.
What's that?
That's probably a plosive.
That looks like a explosive like.
But it's one of the ways to get rid of a plosive, though, is you can just continuously remove that by hitting the F key and doing that. So
You could reduce it a lot more at once if you
absolutely.
want. But
Yeah. Now, in another program, some people call this Adobe Audition, which is what I call it as well. Adobe Audition gives you another feature that you can't get on Twisted Wave and a lot of other ones, and that is being able to dial in the volume you want, because there's a little volume control here. Or I'll bring this, you can see, you can just bring it down. Mm-hmm. Move that up there so you can see.
Similar tool, just a different way of implementing it. A little easier to access on the fly and adjust.
Right, exactly. But then you can really get things. And it really doesn't affect the sound a whole lot.
Yeah, don't go too far, because if you just reduce a single syllable too much, it can sound funky. So whatever you do, play it back and make sure that the results sound the way you
Now, of course, the other way, of course, is to just set a hard limiter at -3, which I have as a preset, and make sure there's no gain, and you apply that. And let's take a look at the whole file here as I do that.
So we can see how it changes. Schlammo. That's what a limiter does, folks. Yep. It's very handy. It's just you don't want to lean on it too much. You know, if you're using limiters all the time to take the tops off, you might be recording a little too hot. Possibly.
Yes, that could be it. But
I do find it's good for animation stuff, though.
Yes, because you're going to be doing loud peaks and stuff like that.
Wide dynamic.
A lot of people need to learn how to back off the mic too, or like
turn down the gain.
Or what's his name who has the dial, who's constantly turning things up and down. Well, that's just for his headphone volume.
I've actually trained him out of doing that.
Oh, good boy.
Well, actually,
all right.
he trained himself out.
Okay, well, that's good. All righty. Well, that's DawView for tonight. Hopefully you learned something from that. Okay, let's move on here to our questions tonight. And okay, there's our questions. All right. First question tonight comes from Ann Kannengeiser. And she says, I'm able to facilitate recording auditions in my home using Twisted Wave and my USB mic. Okay. I'm currently doing auditions for projects on Voice 123 and often see recording and delivery requirements stated as phone patch, ISDN, and Source Connect, as well as email, iCloud, Dropbox, and Google Doc. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm comfortable with the last four, but how do I become acclimated to and what are equipment requirements for the phone patch, ISDN, and Source Connect? Well, you got a lot to learn there, but some of it's actually pretty easy.
It can be a little overwhelming to adapt and adopt all these new tools. Some of them have overlapping functionality, especially IPDTL now, which you didn't mention actually, but IPDTL
she did.
Is it in there?
It's in there.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, she said ISDN.
Yeah. Start with an I. It's close.
Okay.
ISDN, the IPDTL system has their own phone patch built in, so it actually has that as a tool. But what it does is it just creates a phone connection where you can dial out or receive phone calls from any conventional phone, whether it's a mobile phone, a studio phone, doesn't matter. And so you need to be able to do this nowadays for many sessions where you're going to be directed. And a lot of the best paying work is directed. They want to direct you in real time. They want to hear what you're doing, give you direction. So all of these technologies allow a client to do that with you. They all allow you to listen to the studio at the same time, and they can hear you and they can give you direction. But some systems are not intended for recording audio, just for listening in and monitoring. And it's because the audio quality isn't good enough. The audio quality over ISDN and Source Connect and Source Connect Now and IPDTL and VODOJO, all those systems is a high quality audio, good enough to be recorded by the studio on the other end. So not only can they listen to you, they can actually record you real time. And when the session's over, you're done.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing. You don't have to edit anything. You don't have to upload files. It is done.
Right. And they're not intimidating. I mean, ISDN can be intimidating and expensive and pretty much obsolete in the next 10 years. Let's put 10 years on it instead of as opposed to 2.
2020 keeps seeming to show up.
Yeah. But the thing is, and it's not hard to learn these different technologies. ISDN is something you invest in when somebody says, you need to have ISDN so I can pay you $1,000 every time you fire it up. And because you've got to be able to justify the expense for something like that. You don't put the cart before the horse,
right?
But these other software and IP-based solutions like Source Connect and IPDTL and some of the other ones work great.
Yeah.
So
Skype is another thing that's become a really great tool. If you don't use Skype or don't like Skype, you can use Google's Hangouts, which is a way to make and receive
They still
phone
have
calls.
Hangouts?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it works fine. As
All
long
right.
as you're using Chrome, you can use Hangouts to make phone calls and receive phone calls. And the only reason why we're using all of these Band-Aids is because people still are going to be using a standard phone in their office. They're going to have a speakerphone on a desk, or they'll be sitting at a boardroom table with one of those Polycom speakerphone systems, and they want
Tokyo, you're on.
Yeah, and they have old systems that don't tie into a Skype or something.
Right.
So those systems are required. ISDN requires hardware. Everything else, unless on this list, can be all done completely in software.
Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. Then we have a question from Frank.
Hey, Frank.
Didn't give his last name, just Frank. Although we have his email address, we know where to find him. Subject is RAM. Gentlemen, your show is great. Thank you. Keep it up. Can you tell me what you would recommend when purchasing a new laptop, i.e. RAM, HDD, or SDD storage capacity processor? Thanks for all you do. Not a hard question.
No.
The best you can get.
That's one answer.
Okay.
It depends on your budget, I guess.
Well, there's that. Best you can get on your budget.
Whenever they ask these questions, they never tell you the budget. So
Right.
it's like, yeah, dude, go get the most,
go get a Mac Pro,
top of the line.
and a big screen, and
No, honestly, you can buy. I'm going to speak in Apple terms because I know the Apple product line really, really well versus the myriad Windows systems that I can't even begin to rattle off model numbers. You can buy the lowest end MacBook Air, the absolute bottom line that they make, and it will have plenty of power for recording and editing voiceover. No problem, no sweat. They're going to start with 8 gigabytes of RAM. I don't think they sell them with less anymore. And so any computer you get, Windows or Apple, you should definitely get one that has 8 gigabytes of memory or RAM. He's saying
16,
RAM, so
yeah.
he's probably talking about Windows.
Yeah.
But 16 gig is awesome.
if you can get 16, you're fine.
Anything more than that is just gravy. You really don't need more than that. If you're a web browser tabaholic, like me, Chrome uses a crap load of memory, and every tab you have open is using more memory. So if you are like that, you want to have the 16 gig version of whatever you're getting. In terms of storage capacity, well, first of all, do not buy, unless you're on an extreme budget, do not buy a laptop with a hard drive in it anymore. That is 1990s technology.
Ooh.
And go with any laptop you buy should have an SSD. That's a solid state drive or a flash drive. It's the same kind of storage that's in an iPad or an iPhone or an Android phone or any smartphone.
It makes
They
the
use
OS
flash.
run much faster.
Oh, it's so much faster.
Yeah.
We're using an older Mac Mini for part of the show production. It's the only computer in this room with a hard drive. And every time I use it, I'm like, come on, let's go. I'm really spoiled now. But SSD, it's much cheaper than it used to be. Just like everything else, it's getting cheaper. You can get a 1 terabyte SSD now for about $350.
Fabulous.
Not cheap, but you can get a pretty big one. Really, 256 or 500 it's plenty. If you just clean your computer off once a year.
Yeah, there is that. People tend to not.
You got to do some housekeeping once in a while. But yeah, you'll be fine.
Okay. One last question from Mr. Tracy Rails. Hi, George.
Hi.
Okay. Just wondering if you have an opinion of Session Link Pro, and maybe you can discuss it on an upcoming edition of Voiceover Body Shop. I know it's a German company, and some clients on VODOJO prefer it.
Oh, yeah, it's funny. I just mentioned that company's name, Session Link Pro. They're just another one of the same tools that are built on the same kind of back-end platform of Source Connect, same as Source Connect Now and IPDTL. And it's a German, like you said, it's a German company, so German clients are more likely to probably be using it because it's German.
Right.
Other than that, it's just for you as the actual talent. There's nothing for you to buy. They're just going to send you a link, and you'll be able to immediately connect to their Session Link sessions. So don't have to buy it. It's just a tool you should be familiar with.
Right.
Go to their website, download or log in, create a free account, and just start poking around on it. I found out about it. It came out not long after, or maybe around the same time as IPDTL and Source Connect Now, and it's fine. It runs on Google Chrome. It's just another of the same tool. They're just different flavors of the same ice cream. Ice cream.
Ice cream.
I haven't eaten ice cream for a week. I have 7 more weeks to go. No ice cream. Oh my gosh.
All right. So how many tabs do I have open on my computer here?
2, Dan.
And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
11.
Yes. He likes his tabs.
That's the way.
It works for you.
Dan, when you were little, when
Yes.
you were building a project,
Yes.
or last week when you were making a model airplane,
Right.
do you put away every tool and every glue and everything you're using after you use it? Do you
Only
take it
before
out
the
of
show. The rest of
do
it's
you
all
take
over
it-
on my desk.
You take
there,
it
right?
out of the box, use it, and then after that's very nice now. And then do you put it back in the box?
That's the way
Or
my
do you
father taught
wait-
me to do it. But
do you wait until you're done and then put everything away? Answer me that.
When I do the dishes,
Don't try to talk your way out of this.
it's always got to be, everything needs to be done in a certain way.
This is the way I do it.
You put the spoons on this side of the dishwasher, you put the forks on that side of the dishwasher, and that's how that works. By the way, if you didn't notice, George and I happen to know more about home voiceover studios than anybody else on this planet. And if you want some help with your home voice studio, all you got to do is contact one of us. We don't work together, but he's got a question, he'll ask. I got a question, I'll ask him.
We tag team.
We do.
From time to time.
There we go. Tag team. All right. All you have to do is contact us. You can contact me at my website, which is homevoiceoverstudio.com, or write to me at danleonard with no o.com. And Jorge?
And my last name is also misspelled, so I ditched it and just went with georgethetech.com. So if you need to find me, that's the place to go, where you can get stacks and racks and studio design and sound checks and consulting calls and on and on and on.
And we'll both analyze your audio.
Absolutely.
I have my specimen collection cup on my on my webpage. Just click on it, send it in. We love getting that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Audio samples. We like getting your audio samples. I just wasn't sure if you were clear on that.
Yes. Audio specimen, I think I said.
Just making sure.
All right. Tish Hicks is coming up. She's been waiting patiently while this has been going on, and we'll be talking to her right after these important messages. Don't go away.
Are you confused about how to set up and maintain a professional quality voiceover studio? No wonder. The information out there is mostly mythology. This is the best microphone to use. You have to have a preamp. You need a soundproof booth. This software is the best. Your audio must be broadcast quality. Consult with someone who knows the truth. Someone who's been there, in the trenches, doing voiceover for over 30 years. Someone with unparalleled experience with voiceover studios, who's worked with hundreds of voice actors and designed hundreds of personal studios. He knows how to teach and cares about your success. In one of the harshest environments known to voiceover, your home. Dan Leonard, the Home Studio Master. Separate myth from fact and get a handle on your personal voiceover studio. Contact the Home Studio Master at homevoiceoverstudio.com. Drop off a specimen of your dry audio for a free analysis.
Oh, I wanted to talk about one of our lovely sponsors of the show. That's Source Elements, the creators of Source Connect, Source Live, Source, you name it. Source whatever. They probably made it. They're an amazing company, and they make the product that we are the most interested in for the voiceover community, and that's Source Connect. It's an amazing tool for connecting between your studio and any other professional studio in the world. And at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say if the studio is professional studio that works in the world of producing for television or film or radio, they're going to have Source Connect. And that means you're going to be able to connect to them if you have it, but you have to have it to connect to them. You want to be available to those studios. So if you want to get online and start using Source Connect, you can go over to source-elements.com and you can get a 15-day free trial. You don't have to have the little iLock USB thingy anymore to use Source Connect standard. Source Connect Pro still requires the iLock, but you can use it without an iLock, which is really nice. You also don't have to buy it up front. You can get a trial, and then you can sign up for a monthly payment plan for Source Connect Standard. I recommend that one personally because you're always up to date with versions, and you always have support if you do on the month-to-month. Totally worth it. Source Connect at sourceelements.com. Check them out. Tell them we sent you, and we'll be right back here with Dan and Tish.
VOBS is still on? Seriously?
You're listening to VOBS.
Yep, this is VOBS, proving anybody can have a show these days.
VoiceOver Body Shop. Learn the latest in voiceover technology. Learn how to get rid of that VoiceOver Body Shop, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, on VOBS.us.
All right, and welcome back to VoiceOver Body Shop. You know, one of the great thing about being in Hollywood is I get to meet all sorts of cool people and work with some of the best pros around. And wanted to invite one on tonight who was a good friend of mine and somebody who I work with and helping people master the voiceover business from the VODOJO. Welcome, Tish Hicks.
Hey, Dan. Good to be here.
Good. Great to have you on the show tonight. And be interesting to hear what some of the things you've got to say because this is a bizarre business we're in, and it's changing rapidly. People need to learn how to do it right. But why don't we just start about talking about how you got started in voiceover and what led you here?
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from Chicago. Grew up there, and I went to school at Northwestern University.
Okay, not a slouch school.
That's okay. So after I graduated, one of my now husband's good friends is a creative director, and he called me up one day and said, hey, I got this spot for Bally's. I think you'd be good for it. You want to come in? I was like, yeah, sure. And I left that session going,
that's what I want to do.
That is what I'm going to do. Everything that I'd ever done as a performer, I was working at Second City at the time. I was a trained opera singer, my theater background. I was working at Shakespeare Rep in Chicago. Everything that I'd ever done came right here, and I got paid, and I was invited to join the union. I was like, yes.
Cool.
So about 6 months later, I actually moved to LA and arrived here saying, okay, this is what we're doing. This is where we go. Now, I call that the helicopter coming. So if you think of the top of the mountain is a sustained, successful voiceover career. When the helicopter comes like that, get on it. And then I quickly realized that I wasn't an experienced mountaineer, especially climbing the mountain in LA.
Yes.
So I spent, the next year and a half, 2 years going training.
Who'd you study with?
I started with a wonderful lady named Dolores Steele.
Mm-hmm.
Who gave me the lay of the land. Who else did I work with? I worked with the Kalmansons. Cindy Aker did me a great service after I'd studied. She said, "You are 98% ready, and I'm not going to produce your demo." And then she referred me to the Kalmansons for their working pro level thing and took it from there. So just focused and listened.
Yeah, and great to talk to experienced people and people taking an interest in you, which is
Absolutely.
always cool.
It's necessary. I always say that, I'll talk about this in a second, but if you want this, you can get it. The first thing I tell people is nobody cares if you do this or not. So you need to want to do it. And if you want it, you can figure out how to do it. And I encourage people to be like a little kid, like when you get obsessed with something. Like, I want to know everything about rhinoceroses, and there's one, and I know everything about it. And what do you know about rhinoceroses? So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of that too, which is people saying, "Hey, how do you set up a home studio?" Well, it's not quite that simple. So you've got this very interesting organization and training outfit called the VODOJO.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Obviously very different from other voiceover schools, other coaches. How did this come about, and what goes into making it the VODOJO?
Well, my training led to my working for the last 20 years. So I've been the voice of Subaru for the last 7 years. I was the voice of Citibank for 7 years before that. And there comes a time where it's like, wait a minute, I know some stuff. And it was actually through Northwestern. I did a peer group through an organization called Northwestern Entertainment Alliance. And the same thing that happened when I walked into the booth happened when I crossed that threshold into teaching. Mm-hmm. Suddenly, not only all my performing things, but all of these other things that are stuff that I do, like riding dressage and studying kickboxing. My kickboxing sensei is Benny the Jet Urquidez, who's legendary world champion. I work with his wife as a shaman's apprentice, eagle woman, shaman medicine woman. Peer counseling that I had done, all suddenly was like, oh, it's seemingly disparate things were suddenly like, oh, I see. And so that became the You Should Do Voiceover Intensive, which I started teaching here. And then I took to New York, and then I took to Chicago. And then I realized after doing that for a while that it was kind of mean, because I was giving people this comprehensive overview and a little taste of everything that you can be making money. And then I was going, bye, good luck with that. And I said, we'll either put this down or just do it sometimes for a little bit. Or what do people really, really need? What does it really require? And that is where the Mystery to Mastery program came out. So that's the full year training course that is designed to guide, support, connect, and accelerate you every step of the way from I don't know to working pro. Uh-huh. So taking the belt level structure of a martial arts program, we divide the natural progression into 4 belt levels. That allows you to lay foundations and then build upon those, focusing just on what you need to know when you're working on it as you're working.
Mm-hmm. So obviously, having taken a little bit of martial arts myself here and there, there's a real philosophy behind it. There's more to it's a mental discipline. And, and I've always looked at voiceover as a discipline, like sailing is a discipline. You've got to have the ropes, the sheets have to be in the right place and everything, every place for everything in its place. Is that similar to what goes on over at the dojo?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the word dojo means the place of the way. So a karate dojo is the place of karate. So the VODOJO is the place. I'm here, our team is here to facilitate you finding your way in voiceover. And we work with, some pretty basic foundational principles. The most important one is that voiceover is communication, and communication is an exchange of vibrational energy.
Okay.
That's it. It's as simple as that. So you take it down to that fundamental, almost universal level of how we actually communicate through this vibrational means. What is the energy behind the words is what we're really receiving, not necessarily just the ideas. So that's sort of the foundation of everything that we do at the dojo. And it creates this way of approaching voiceover in a holistic and a technical way. We're always working together, both of those things together.
How many coaches do you have working with you?
Well, I have you, our techno sensei. Right now, it's just me. Right now.
And you work with people individually, and you have classes.
Well, I don't usually. Well, let's see. I don't usually work with people individually unless they come to me and explain what it is they're trying to accomplish,
right?
And we can actually accomplish that. I find that when you're learning the craft, when you're finding your way in this art form, that learning together actually is what accelerates programs. So the way the dojo is designed is it starts with the You Should Do Voiceover Intensive, which we do as a weekend intensive live here in LA, or a 6-week virtual version that you can do from anywhere. That lays the foundations. And then the Mystery to Mastery program is like going into full training for boxing. When you do voiceover, people always say, people tell me all the time I should do voiceover, and it's really hard to break into, right?
Yeah, and there's a reason for that.
Yes, exactly. And I say, well,
I've been spreading a rumor.
Exactly. Yeah. You should if you want to, and yes, it is. So I like to say, well, what if someone came up to you and said, everyone tells me that I should be a professional boxer. What should I do? And it's really hard to break into, right?
Go to the gym.
Exactly.
They teach it.
Well, it's even beyond going to the gym, because yes, you can learn to box if you go to the gym. If you want to be a pro boxer and go to the bout in Vegas, you are going to go into full training, right? So you'll be jumping rope and working the bags and sparring and doing everything and running and eating right and doing everything at the same time. And that is the idea behind the Mystery to Mastery program. It's like going into full training. So there's 7 elements that you're working together. We have a knowledge mindset call. We do small group workouts called Dojo Deep Dives. There is individual private coaching. You get weekly assignments. So what happens with the weekly assignments is you, from the very beginning, are incorporating, I like to liken it, weaving voiceover into the elaborate tapestry of your existing life, and as it becomes more, this becomes more, and then it becomes that.
It makes more sense as you go through the process. I mean, as you go through each level. And you're building on each individual level.
And then I think also, people go, okay, so I want to do voiceover. How do I get an agent? Well, you don't have to work. Well, do you have a demo? No. Okay, do you know how to read copy? No. Okay, well, let's back it up. and not in a condescending way. Let's back it up, right? I mean, unless you're a math whiz, you're not going to jump in doing calculus. You need to learn the basic foundations, right?
It's that damn algebra.
No, it's not like math. but that, that's the idea. How do you lay the foundations? And how do you focus on just what you want to just what you need to be focusing on, because it's really easy to get swept up in like, oh, this is the tech stuff that I need and I'm going to look over here. And yeah, you can get there, but what happens, you're going to end up having to go back and learn to be a mountaineer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's important. So what are some of the tools that you share with the people that come to the dojo?
Well, one of the, I guess, mottos of the dojo is clarify, simplify, and amplify. So one of the and the other concepts that we roll by are that it's a very holistic approach to voiceover, seeing that the foundation is about this exchange of vibrational energy.
Right.
It's very voiceover from the inside out. So one of the things that we focus on a lot is mindset. So we have some principles that we work by. I actually brought the little card here. It'll probably be backwards. But the rules of the dojo and the rules of voiceover. So the rules of the dojo are focus, know what you want, ask for it. People will give it to you if you allow. Lifetime, each one of those lifetime things to master. 2 is positive self-direction. Leave your inner critic outside the booth. 3, confidence. Know you can do it even though you never tried. 4, excellence. We are essential and we are expendable. There's no room for mediocrity. And number 5, beginner's mind. Cultivate determination, humility, and curiosity. And then the rules of voiceover. Share your truth. Trust your voice. Keep energy moving forward, both within copy and in your career. 4 is listen carefully. And 5 is play fully.
Play fully.
Play fully. Both playfully and playfully. Because if you're not, someone else is, and they're going to get the job.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's no question about it. When I'm talking to people about their home studios, and I'm always saying, okay, here's some basics. Try this. Go out and play.
Exactly.
It's everybody has to develop their own style and integrate it into their own personality. So play is a very important part of it.
Absolutely.
We may be adults, but we still play.
Yeah.
So, it's, go back. Remember what it was like when you were a kid.
Exactly. And that's the beginner's mind part, too.
Very interesting. Where have you been taking the dojo?
Well, as I said, in its early stages, I was teaching classes in New York and Chicago, and I still do that. I had a very exciting thing happen was it last weekend? I think it was just last weekend. I was invited to teach a master class through the ArabicVoices.com. So I ran a master class over a Zoom conference call. So I was on the screen, and there was a class of 8 people in Cairo that are part of this wonderful program that's being run there that's unifying all of the...
We met him in Atlanta.
Yeah, Ahmed.
Right,
yes,
Ahmed.
He's brilliant.
Lots of interesting stories about Ahmed.
And it was extremely exciting because one of the other tools, you asked about the tools, one of the other, I guess like a basic toolkit, right? Like here's a hammer, here's a screwdriver, here's a wrench, right? That we talk about it. I call it the braid of analysis. So if you think about a braid, it has 3 threads, right? So the 3 threads in the braid of analysis when you're working on a piece of voiceover copy on a fundamental level are connection, logic, and energy. And I call it a braid because we need to identify each of these things. Connection is how is something resonating for you? And then who are you sharing it with, right? Because it's an exchange of vibrational energy. So, and this is the organic part. If we know what we're talking about and we know who we're talking to, we never think about, oh, I better take a breath or I will emphasize this word. If we do, then someone's like, Dan, what's wrong? Right? Why are you doing that? So So connection first, and then we always think about weaving, like braiding these other things. We're always working it through a piece of copy. Now, going back to working with the wonderful folks at the Arabic Voice, part of me was like, how am I going to do this? I don't really speak Arabic. So,
Yeah, but they all speak English.
They spoke English. So in terms of
Knowing
the
what I
training
know.
part, that was cool. But then we translated the pieces into Arabic, and they read in Arabic. And because we were working on this exchange of vibrational energy, I could really tell and could give them directions in terms of using these tools that made a huge difference in the experience of the read. And then it was great because Ahmed is a very experienced voiceover person, so he was able to I was able to demonstrate in English, and he was able to demonstrate in Arabic.
All right. All right. Well, if you're just tuning in, if that's what you do on the internet, click in or whatever. We're talking with Tish Hicks from the VODOJO. If you've got a question, throw it in the chat room for Tish about the VODOJO or about her or about something in voiceover that you think she might be able to explain to you. George, are we getting any questions in there?
I'm monitoring, yes, sir.
All righty. Well, that's great. So George is monitoring the chat room tonight. So throw those questions in there. Now, one of the interesting things about when we're teaching, because you and I both teach, and it's how many different types of people try to get into this business. As I like to say, a lot of recovering podiatrists and accountants and stuff. People who are, they're like, I'm not fulfilled in my career. Somehow I think voiceover will be more fulfilling for me. And you're like, okay.
Well,
so what kind of people do you work with over there?
Well, it's been interesting because one of the other places that I've taken the dojo is I teach a master class at Northwestern. I've been there for the last 3 years. So I'm working with people who are just coming out of school. And I say to them, hello, darlings. Do you love theater? Do you like to eat? Try voiceover. Because if you can diversify your acting portfolio early on, you always have this tool in your toolbox, this weapon in your arsenal to diversify. And I think that applies to everyone in the performing arts now. The whole business has changed so much for everyone. Not scattering your focus, but very conscientiously diversifying, focusing so that you have these things that are all working is really important. If you can do that when you're just starting, that's great. If you're out here acting and haven't, are still doing your on-camera, people who are on camera already, tomorrow I have a coaching with Jasmine Savoy Brown, who's A-listing, like on her way to A-list. Because those people need to know how to do voiceover too when they get the gigs. I work with I embrace the people who come from other master disciplines and are at other places in their lives. So sometimes I work with people who hate their jobs and gave up their dreams to do their jobs that they hate.
A lot of IT people getting into voiceover.
It's interesting. It's interesting, yeah. But somewhere there was that spark of the things that it requires to do this work. And then I've also been working with people who are second careers in I'm coming to the end of my career. And I don't lie to people. Not lie to people, but I don't.
Would you lie to them? Be honest.
No. I'm very honest. I'm very
sure.
blunt, and I say, look, puppies and babies get adopted first, and when you come into this later, you're going to be competing with people. This is what I say. To break into this business, you need to be able to get on the freeway going 95 miles an hour with people who've been driving the Autobahn for 25 years. So. Not to get too lost in too many metaphors.
But that's a good one.
Can you do it? Yes. Can you do it on a scooter? No. That's where the training comes in. And then when you're coming in, competing at a level with people who've been doing this for 30 years, then you just have to be really, really freaking good.
Right.
So it's not something, and in general, it's not something you do casually.
Right. So you better be Jackie Stewart when you get on the highway there.
Yeah.
You know how to use the clutch.
Exactly.
All right. So you work with a lot of people who are trying to break into the business. But what about people who are working pros? And as working pros, we always need to be constantly updating our skills and studying. What do you offer for the more advanced students?
Well, actually, the Dojo program has 4 elements that work on a continuum. It was really important to me as I was developing this course. I mean, part of what I asked was like, well, wait a minute, what do I want? I'm 20 years into this business. I know this really well, but it's changing, and I need to be keeping on. What's the next thing that I need? So in terms of for working pros, we have 2 working pro programs. There's the Nth Degree weekly workout. It's a virtual workout. It works in several different modalities that all serve for accountability, honing your work, getting yourself out of your closet, because it's become such an isolated thing. We just know, hello, humans, yes.
Slide me meals under the door. And,
so just that human contact and communal energy, which is what the whole dojo is about. And then we also have the VODOJO Pro Fight Club, which is our working pro workout that brings together top-notch talent from a cross-section of agencies. We do it live in LA once a month and virtually once a month. We just had JJ Jurgens, CBS promo director, working virtually with us. Next, coming up in October, Ned Lott, who's Pixar and Disney and Miyazaki. I'm so excited to ask him all sorts of questions about that. He's our next live. But we bring together the top-notch talent with the decision makers who hire us. So for me, I approach that going like, well, I am a working pro. I have an agent. I know the casting directors. I see them all the time. So the people that we get are the people who we know because we do sessions with them. Or you might not have access to them because they don't necessarily do these workshops together. And the Fight Club is designed to turn the audition process transparent. So that moment that we all experience of, well, it's done. My audition is done. And now, where does it go? What happens to it? It breaks down. It makes that whole process. You see the whole thing from start to finish, from everyone's auditions to who is the chosen one. And we talk about being the chosen one, not the winner, because that's a mindset thing. If you get all psyched because you're the winner, then that probably implies if you're not chosen that you might be the loser. And that's a dangerous, slippery slope. And also to realize, our game is we just have to be freaking good and be sharing our truth and bringing ourselves. And that's what we can do.
Right. And that's at the level of where the big jobs are here in Hollywood, and the network work and stuff like that. So you've got to earn your place there.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the really cool thing about the dojo, because what we do in the Mystery to Mastery program is the Fight Club is one of the elements of the program. So when you're in the Mystery to Mastery program, from the very beginning, you're exposed to this Fight Club. You're invited to audit the first 6 months, the first 2 belt levels. And then as you advance in the belt levels and are moving towards the working pro world, you are tapped in when you're a blue belt, and then you can expect to be in when you're a brown belt. And so by the time you finish the year-long program, you've not only been doing all of this work, but you've also really literally have stepped into the ring and know what you've got. So we keep a ratio of working pros and the people who are students. We don't make a distinction. We say we're all working pros here. Some of us have stepped into the ring, some of us haven't.
Right.
And then that's also about the mindset of the person making the decisions. Doesn't make any distinctions.
Right.
You don't make any distinctions yourself. You're ready to step in, you're ready to step out.
That's great how you cross-pollinate all these people together.
Yeah, and it's all about relationship too. I mean, that's one of I think the big paradoxes now is that has become so isolated. When I started 20 years ago, I'm always like, wow, we started 20 years ago. We went and we saw each other every day, and that was part of the thing. And we'd be talking, and then we'd go to, And now it's so yoni. But it's still, one of the things I say at the dojo is it's always just you, but you never do it alone.
Right.
And everyone who has a level of success, it's because you become part of the community. And how do you do that? And how do you recognize yourself as part of the community? And how do you contribute? So that connection.
Right. Community is important. I mean, we do it every week with the chat room.
Absolutely.
Everybody gets together and, they're all exchanging information. That's one of the great things.
And the chat room's buzzing in Facebook and on our website.
Excellent.
There's 2 chat rooms going on, so I'm keeping an eye on both of them.
What's going on here? All righty. Well, our guest is Tish Hicks from the VODOJO. We'll be taking some of your questions and ask her a few more right after these messages. Don't go away. We'll be right back here on Voiceover Body Shop.
This is John Bailey, the Epic Voice, and you're watching VOBS.TV, Monday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 Newfoundland.
Hi, this is Bill Farmer, and you are watching Voiceover Body Shop. It's great.
Having dinner tonight? How about having some VO, too?
Voiceover Body Shop.
Have some voiceover with your dinner tonight on Voiceover Body Shop, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.
Are we at -4 dB? We're at -4 dB on VOBS.
Before time began, there was VOBS.TV. Watch or else.
Learn the latest in voiceover technology, business, and good old-fashioned acting.
I really like your bracelet. It's awesome.
Hey, Paul, where did you get that watch?
That's really cool.
And a hamburger with no cheese, please.
Every Monday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, only on VoiceOverBodyShop.com.
Learn the latest in voice.
All righty. Hey, right now, save $40 on the Portabooth Plus and carry-on travel bag fall combo. Not only are you going to save money because he's betting that you're going to find yourself using the travel bag even when you aren't taking your Plus along with you. It's that well designed and that well organized. Remember all that major airlines are enforcing more strict carry-on bag size and now weight restrictions? Harlan Hogan's Portabooth Plus carry-on travel bag fits the airline sizer at your airport perfectly. The same can't be said for its competitors. If you want one of these, a Portabooth Plus, which is a great thing, go on over to voiceoveressentials.com for $40 off now. I mean, this thing is fabulous. You can put all sorts of stuff in here. Not only does your Portabooth Plus fit in here, but you can fit your microphones and your cables and your computer, which is really, really cool. So this becomes your total Porta studio.
You can stuff things in between the folds of the booth, too,
Absolutely.
right? Because it's all
out of his way to really design this thing really, really well. And it's perfectly stitched. It doesn't come apart. And the Portabooth Plus itself is excellent for doing your voiceover work on the road. Go over to voiceoveressentials.com. It's right down there at the bottom of our website. There's a picture. Hi, Harlan. He's down there. Click on the picture of Harlan Hogan talking into his Portabooth Plus and order one. You got to have one. It's what you got to have when you're on the road. Anyway, thanks, Harlan, for being a sponsor here on VoiceOver Body Shop. $40 off on this. You can't beat it. Go buy one.
Your dynamic voiceover career requires extra resources to keep moving ahead. Now there's one place where you can explore everything the voiceover industry has to offer. That place is voiceoverextra.com. Whether you're just exploring a voiceover career or a seasoned veteran ready to reach that next professional level, stay in touch with market trends, coaching, products, and services while avoiding scams and other pitfalls. VoiceOver Extra has hundreds of articles, free resources, and training that will save you time and help you succeed. Learn from the most respected talents, coaches, and industry insiders when you join the online sessions bringing you the most current information on topics like audiobooks, auditioning, casting, home studio setup and equipment, marketing, performance techniques, and much more. It's time to hit your one-stop daily resource for voiceover success. Sign up for a free subscription to newsletters and reports and get 14 bonus reports on how to ace the voiceover audition. It's all here at voiceoverextra.com. That's voiceoverextra.com.
And we're back with Tish Hicks from the VODOJO. And, we're going to take your questions in just a second here, but one of the things that's, you and I have been in this business a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's changed. I mean, how are things different for you since the business started?
Well, I think, like I was saying before, that I talk about it like the old paradigm and the new paradigm. And I think that there's like a third paradigm that is emerging. So when I was starting, I moved from Chicago, which is not an unmajor, it's a big market.
Place,
it's a big market. But really, when I moved here 20 years ago, the way that it rolled was that you moved to the major market, you got your skills good enough to get a major agent in a major market, and that was where the access to the copy was. The ad agencies had relationships with the major agencies in the major markets, and that's where everything was. So, in retrospect, it was kind of like get to the trout pond and put your pole in. And obviously, the work that it was contained, and it has always required the discipline and the focus and being just really freaking good to get there and do the work. But things shifted with voicebank.net allowing access, right? So that shifted that paradigm. And then pay to play has also created access.
Right. So technology is really the big difference.
Technology, huge difference. And so I think what has happened is one has had to approach building one's career in a different way. And then there's people who are on both sides of this paradigm shift, right? So people who are coming up, all of us need to be very specific about, instead of going to the trout pond, we need to be very specific about what we're fishing for today. Make sure we have the right equipment and that we're baiting the hook with the right thing, and that we work, we know how to do the lake, and we knew how to do the deep sea diving, we know how to, so we have to be able to do that. And then, I think for people coming up, there's this thing that you can make a great living wherever you are, and the other thing that's shifting is union and non-union work, in a frightening way. That same creative director who, 20 years ago gave me my first job and I joined the union. I noticed one of his clients on an audition, and it was a non-union job and kind of a crappy paying non-union job. And I called him. He said, "My entire agency, which has worldwide in the title of it, is just doing non-union work." And so that is
a sea change.
Yeah, that's really a giant change. So what I see is happening is people are coming up and doing really well, and this trout pond still exists as well. And so what I'm seeing as happening, and what is going to be powerful for all of us, is bridging.
Right.
It seems like, whereas as this used to be, why would I even think about that? Like, because I'm here and I go fishing every day and the thing comes out. As this has shifted, everyone here has had to kind of figure out, wait a minute, what about this as well? And then as people come up here, people go, wait a minute, I get paid how much for what? And because of this trend in the business to be moving towards this, I think there's a real powerful moment that we all have here, that as people are coming up, if we can have people coming up in the way, like when I graduated from theater school, well, I'm going to the equity, right? That if that's something that people understand, and this comes to a place where it embraces and we all come together,
right?
That would be That's the idea, and I see WOVO as being a real place that's creating a format for that to happen.
Well, we're trying to create community. And speaking of community, we have lots of questions from our community in our chat room. George,
we do.
What do we have?
First one kicked off here from Joni Silva, and she says, I'd like to know if Tish thinks it's a good idea for beginning VO artists to go to VO Atlanta. Do you have an opinion on that one?
Well, I think it is. I think you need to know. You need to know what to expect. But yeah, I think if you're going to become part of the community, I think you need to know. Let's see. Yes, because it's about relationship.
It's a lot of fun, guys.
And it's super fun. And it's about getting to know people. And there's lots of resources there in one place. And a lot of finger on the pulse what is going on. So I think as long as you are going with taking that mountain climber metaphor, going and you're not expecting to be jumping into something like, okay, let's go let's go summit in one day. That's not going to happen. Right. If you go and hang out at the lodge where the people who've been climbing the mountain are, that is a great place to start. And then take it, trust. I talk about a gestation period. Mm-hmm. Everyone has a gestation period, and everyone's on a different gestation period, right? Because it depends on what you're doing, what you're bringing to this party. And it really is taking your mastery from what you know from other places and then figuring out how to apply it to this medium. And that is a process. So just in the same, so then trust that if you're 3 months into development, then doing things, at a 12-month rate is, so just go and embrace where you're at and go in that 5th rule of the dojo, beginner's mindset. Yeah.
I mean, everybody has a different budget for things like that. I mean, if that's something you can fit into your training budget, then I would say for sure.
Well, and I think that's something to also consider. It's not an inexpensive proposition going to a conference. But I think as you're approaching this as a business, it's a really powerful way to, in a short amount of time, make a lot of contacts in ways that you can't sitting in your booth alone. Right. And so it's good to budget for those things, once a year going to
So
something.
In other words, to continue the metaphor, get out of your fetal position and go to one of these conferences, one of these good conferences.
Yeah.
Next question. Go for it.
This one's from Facebook Live. Apparently you have a fan named Royal Joyner.
Royal Joyner, who I met at VO Atlanta. Yes.
He says, hey, Tish helps me find my VO mojo, give it the royal treatment. He asks, do you create demos?
I myself do not create demos, but I work with some of the best people in the business. Mm-hmm. So the dojo has working relationships with some of the best people. So what we do is we train you and get you ready to do your demo, and then guide you through the process of choosing who you're going to be working with, and making sure that you know yourself in such a way that you are able to come to your demo, to talking to demo producers with a really clear understanding of what you're about, what you're after, and you're driving the car in that way, not just like, here, you should do this. Okay. No. Well, I know what, the way we work on is like, we want to have everything on your demo resonate for you.
Right.
All right. Devox has a rather intense question here. He says, please talk some voiceover calculus. Thanks. Esoteric, higher level stuff that your competition doesn't deal with. Maybe some recent revelation you've come to.
That's Devox for you.
Yeah.
Yes, the hard question.
Well, I think of of the way, I think that the dojo does kind of deal in a more in some way the esoteric comes in breaking it down into the pure humanity, right? Into this energy exchange, and not California woo woo. I mean, this is everything. I think that a lot of the complexity. Here's a good example. And once again, I think a lot of what we do at the dojo is really, really look at the complexity. I can find one of my taglines is elaborate solutions for everyday problems. And to combat that, I tend to, what we do at the dojo is try to simplify. So I think as a voiceover artist, and this is what the dojo does, is teaches you how to think like a voiceover working pro. You need to be really nimble-minded. You need to be able to go boom, 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 in an instant, be able to see everything and see how it relates, and then boom, make a choice, and how it distills. So how do you develop that skill is what it's about. I just had an example, and it just flew out of my head. Good story, Tish.
Oh, that's what
it's
hit
like,
me there.
oh. So wait, yes. Okay, so it'll come back. It'll come back.
Oh, okay.
It's a good
All right, well,
interview.
we've got a couple more questions here. This is a great question from Amy Raish. She says, "Hi, Tish. I'd love to hear your thoughts on increasing female voices in the VO world, and how a female voiceover artist can possibly influence openness to a female voice where the production entity might be calling for a male."
This is interesting. This actually, the Citibank campaign that I had for 7 years was an audition that my agent sent me on, and I was the only woman. It didn't call for a woman, and he put me on it. And so this is a really powerful thing that we can all do. We all have feminine and masculine energy in us, right? And so when we see something that says male voice, burr, 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 female voice, burr, 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 or male or female voice, there's a lot of information that we can glean about what in general does a female voice make me feel in general, right? And then what about my voice embodies that? And each of us, whichever gender we can go, okay, what is the part of my voice that feels like what a female voice is supposed to do? So for instance, when I got the Citibank campaign, the tagline was spend wisely, seek balance, live richly, right? But expanding out and thinking about the many layers, I had to go, okay, so this is a financial institution that did not ask for a female voice. So what do I, as a female, need to embody to make sure I am giving the feeling that you want in a financial institution, but also allowing my own feminine qualities to come out as well, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that is the way that we switch things. It's about who can distill the essence of the spot down in such a way that people get it. It's not general, it's really specific, and that can be surprising.
And that doesn't happen overnight. You got to really train yourself to do that and practice those methods.
Right. Well, I think you have to tap into yourself. And then, one of the other things we do at a working pro level is I have we talk about the braid of analysis as a fundamental thing. I have another an advanced framework of analysis that I call the powers of 10. That is about how do you think about multiple layers that are within every piece of copy. You can look at it this way, organically, and then technically. So there's ways that you can expand your thinking about it.
Right. All righty. Well, if they want to sign up over at the VODOJO, how do they do that?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, if you would like one of these handy dandy door hangers version
let's get a
of
close-up view of that.
Of the rules of the dojo.
By the way, we are going to come back for more questions. We're just going to take another quick
great. So email me, Tish at thevodojo.com, and I'll send you a PDF of that. You put it on your microphone. www.thevodojo.com is where you can find out everything that's going on. And then I like to do what I call voiceover once-over calls. It's a free 15-minute call that allows me to get a sense of where you're at and where you'd like to be. And you can, you're getting a sense of who I am and what we're doing at the dojo. And then we can talk about how that fits and what will best serve you.
All righty. A couple more questions?
Yeah, right after this break.
Okay, we'll take a break and we'll be right back with Tish, and then we'll get ready to get out of here right after this.
Your dynamic voiceover career requires extra resources to keep moving ahead. Now there's one place where you can explore everything the voiceover industry has to offer. That place is VoiceOverExtra.com. Whether you're just exploring a voiceover career or a seasoned veteran ready to reach that next professional level, stay in touch with market trends, coaching, products, and services while avoiding scams and other pitfalls. VoiceOver Extra has hundreds of articles, free resources, and training that will save you time and help you succeed. Learn from the most respected talents, coaches, and industry insiders when you join the online sessions bringing you the most current information on topics like audiobooks, auditioning, casting, home studio setup and equipment, marketing, performance techniques, and much more. It's time to hit your one-stop daily resource for voiceover success. Sign up for a free subscription to newsletters and reports and get 14 bonus reports on how to ace the voiceover audition. It's all here at VoiceOverExtra.com. That's VoiceOverExtra.com.
Here we go. Go for it.
Okay. All right. Wait a second. Everyone. The VODOJO. Okay. Okay.
Sorry about that, folks.
Okay. Where are you on your voiceover journey? Where would you like to be? Well, whether you're just getting into voiceover or you're a seasoned pro looking to take it up another notch, the VODOJO is here to help you take your voiceover career all the way. Now, it's not just a class or another workshop. It's an integrated curriculum, as you've been hearing, that's designed to guide, support, connect, and accelerate you every step of the way, from, to working pro. The fall session is enrolling now, and if you're already on your way, we're accepting applications for the fall session of our Mystery to Mastery program. It's an intense program for intense people who are ready to have what they're after in the voiceover world. And if you're a working pro, our nth degree weekly workout pro workouts will refocus, refresh, and revitalize. And the VODOJO Pro Fight Club will connect you with the top decision makers in the biz. Go to www.thevodojo.com and get set up a free 15-minute voiceover once-over call today.
Silver technology.
Business.
That good old-fashioned acting. Hey, Paul, I really like your suit. Where did you get it? It looks good on you. This is VOBS.
In a world of audio, two men knew what they were doing, or at least they have you convinced. They put the BS in VOBS.TV.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back. And we got a few more questions here.
Royal Joiner.
Royal Joiner has another question.
Yes. Are there job listings that members can apply to? Do you do that kind of stuff?
Well, when you're a dojo member, you become the people who are dojo, like people who are in the master plan. We only accept 40 people per year, so it's a tight group that's working together. So when you become part of the dojo at whatever level you're working at, working pro or just beginning, you become part of the resources, and we recommend and refer people. That happens all the time because people start coming to us and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this," and we go, "Great, we know just the person."
Alrighty. Amy Raish has another question. What's your methodology for honing in on the essence of the performer in order to locate their most suitable niche or specialization? For example, the match between what they offer as the soul inside your voice, if you will, and how and where to seek work that might be most receptive to that essence. With so many excellent performers in the LA market, it would seem beneficial to specialize in some way to find out what you do better than everyone else. Be unique. Obviously, that's the whole key.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the key to everything, and that's why the way we're working is so essential, because anyone can learn how to read copy, right? Anyone can read copy well, and it can sound great. Only you can bring yourself to the copy, and what you're bringing to the copy is going to be unique. If you're connecting up with the things that resonate for you in the ways that they resonate, and sharing with someone that you know, we're going to get all of that that's completely specific and totally different than anybody else. Now, if you're doing this, if you're working in this method, in this way, every day, every time you step up to the mic, every time you're working on any piece of copy, you're exercising, what am I about? What am I bringing? What's important to me? And that gets honed in. And then you expand that to, great, let me understand what's happening in each of these genres, and where do these things that either I know about or my voice lends itself to being able to express, right? I have a great lady who had a journalism, a really high-end journalism background years ago. She was like a press secretary for governor. She's like and has come back to this, and now she has dealt with a lot of medical stuff, and she's coming back to the thing. And I'm like, well, darling, here's where we're going to start, because I have never talked. She like speaks pharma. I'm like, okay, well, you're going to start there, right? I have another gal who has 15 years in the automotive industry. And in addition to being a fabulous trained actress, another Northwestern gal. And so we're going to start there, right? So it's just getting to know yourself, and then getting to know the industry, and finding the places that you enjoy, because if you don't like it, don't do it, because nobody cares if you do it or not. And then knowing yourself and what you can deliver.
Okay.
Brilliant. Richard Hercher says, do we think that the big move away from the union work is all because of the internet changing the market, or the union not working hard enough to empower the relationship between client, producer, agent, talent?
I think it's a combination. Obviously this is loaded territory.
Sure, of course.
But I was here for the strike in 2000 as kind of fresh, like yay. Yeah. And I saw a lot of what was happening, and I did a lot of like research about what's been happening in the society as a whole in terms of unions and how there's just. So I think that I think there's just been news that the video game strike has been successful on some level, which is huge. It's gigantic. Now, do I think that should have happened 10 years ago? Yes, but it didn't. And so the more, so I think it's a real combination of what's happening in business and what is happening with the union. And that's once again why I think creating that bridge to get more people connected is the thing.
Very diplomatic.
Well said.
Yes, absolutely.
One last quickie from Tracy, and it's about your program. He just didn't realize, is the VODOJO a place, or is it just done from online?
It is both. We work with people we have an office and a studio here, a booth in
Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles, Los Angeles, in Burbank specifically. So if you're here, we come and we work together. And if you're wherever you are, we can work virtually. And actually, we blend. So if we do a dojo workout, there's people who are here in this community, and then you join us virtually, and we all we all work together. So it's not separate. So yeah, it's really everything we do at the dojo, you can do from wherever. And if you come here, you can do it. And if you're here, we actually meet in person.
Fantastic.
All righty. Well, Tish, a pleasure having
Thank
you
you,
on.
Dan. And we should talk about Dan is one of the senseis on our Ask the Sensei free webinar that we do the first Wednesday of every month at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So that's coming up.
And those
first
are fun.
Wednesdays.
It's always fun getting the questions from people and telling them this is what the business is like.
It's extended dance mix of this.
Yes.
It's this for an hour.
All righty. All right. So go over to the VODOJO.com. All righty. Well, Andrew, why don't you just follow me as I make my way back to the main studio?
While you're doing that with Dan, put it on camera 2.
Yeah.
Or just keep panning. I don't care.
It's more interesting.
You do your thing. I just had the 2 little tag-on tech questions that came that I didn't get to answer earlier. One was from Richard Hercher about mic placement. He says, I'm building a rectangular moving blanket recording space, 4 by 10 feet. Pretty big. What's the best place to put the mic? The door is in one of the short walls, if that makes any difference. If it's just a big tent made out of moving blankets, it almost doesn't matter where you put the mic because the whole thing is just dead. It's just an extremely dead room. So it probably doesn't make a big difference. But if there are hard walls on the inside of on the outside of those blankets, then you probably want to put the mic more towards the center of the room. Don't cheat the mic into or back it into a corner because that's where bass builds up. So I would keep it away from the ends or the corners.
Right. And then the thing is you can tune it. You can place it all sorts. See where it sounds
Use your
best.
ear. Yeah,
Use your
move it
ear.
around.
Move it around. Make sure that George or I can hear what this is in this quarter position. This is in this corner. This is in the center of the room, and we can make a determination as to what the best place to put the mic is.
And this one is not. I'm not going to go into a lot of depth on this one.
Okay.
Keep it real simple. But from Fred North, he says, George, is there a good thing as a good pairing of mic and preamp? Is it like wine and food? Well, actually, it is kind of like wine and food a little bit. And those that really know wine are going to be extremely picky about what wines they pick and what they eat.
Yeah, but there are a lot of producers out there who don't drink any wine.
Yes.
They're usually drinking beer.
I like the analogy. It's
Yeah.
true. No, yes and no. There are some preamps that are just ultra clean, low distortion, sound good on anything because they don't have a sound. They're just accurate, like the Grace preamps and the preamps that come in like the Audient ID22 and stuff like that. But the answer is yes, and that's a good question for the guys over at GearSluts. .com, where they will really delve into those kinds of questions. But it's very picky stuff. We're not so picky, honestly, about that.
No, because it's actually a lot simpler than that. We don't want you messing with your sound so much.
Yeah, keep it clean.
Keep it nice and clean. You know, make yourself sound like you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next week on this very show, another great guest. We'll have Lisa Orkin, daughter of Chicken Man Dick Orkin.
Here?
From the Radio Ranch Commercial Production House. And there's hope that if her father is feeling up to it, Dick will join us as well, which would be really cool. Yeah, I mean, I grew up with Chicken Man. Some of you kids might not remember Chicken Man, but
we might have to run long on that show.
We might.
He makes it.
We might.
Because I mean, you know how you get these radio guys in the show.
Oh, I know. Funny guy, tells great stories and a lot about writing radio copy, which is really, really cool. On October 16th, we have John Gidcombe, casting director of Loop De Loop ADR and Looping Group in L.A.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, for all top box office movies, Marvel movies, all the Planet of the Apes movies, X-Men, Avatar, La La Land, etc.
That's awesome. I mean, want to get an ADR person in here.
We haven't really talked about ADR,
a
a whole lot, have we? I mean, we've been in studios where they do ADR. Sure. But, on October 30th, the one and only attorney and floor wax Rob Siglum-Paglia will be joining us to talk about.
Do you know if he's going to be here?
He's coming for voiceover mastery, and he's I'm
okay.
going to be here. Can I be on the show?
Fantastic.
We're like, yeah, we'll have you on again.
Sweet.
You know, you're a friend. We'll let you on. He's got great information about keeping your legal obligations right in your voiceover business. How have we done for donors this week? And
Hillside
we
down.
totally appreciate that.
Yeah, we do. Tracy Reynolds, who's now become one of our Doesn't Miss an Episode donors. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy.
Joining
We really
Eric,
appreciate it.
Eric Aragoni is one of our Doesn't Miss an Episode donors. It's just so nice of you guys. And there's a lot of other folks who make a monthly donation through our website. It's sustaining. It's just automatic. You can subscribe, like Patty Gibbons, which is really sweet. Scrolling. Keep those mouses
Amanda
scrolling.
Fellows.
Amanda Fellows.
Oh, we love you, Amanda.
And Brian Page and George Whittam.
Senior.
I'm not donating myself. This
No.
is my dad. Thanks, Dad. Always supportive. And a little bit further down the page here, I see we've got one from Shelley Avellino, who's been a supporter of us going way back, and Thomas Pinto.
And Tom Pinto. You can't get any better of a top drawer than Tom Pinto.
kidding.
One of the great voices and teachers here in town. All righty. Well, let's see.
GeorgeTheTech.com coupon.
You have a coupon?
I do now.
Okay.
As of 10 minutes ago, in fact.
Just came up with this, huh?
I did. And I believe it works, but you'll let me know if it doesn't. If you go to my website and you book a consultation, you have to do a scheduled consultation through my website. There will be the ability to enter a coupon code. Yeah, that little box at the bottom right there that pops up. You can enter a coupon code Libra 2017. And no, you don't have to be a Libra. I was thinking of doing that, but then I thought, that's dumb. Why would I want to cut so many people off?
Let's see how many people misspell Libra.
Libra, Libra 2017. I'm a Libra. I got lots of voiceover friends who are Libras, but for everybody, for the month of October, 30% off tech consultations. That ends at the end of when the Scorpios come.
All right.
When the Scorpios come,
we'll
it's
change
done.
it to Scorpio.
October 27
Okay.
expires.
Cool. The opening voiceover was provided by the one and only Jody Krangle up there in Toronto, Ontario.
Awesome.
She is. And you can do it too. We're working on a new intro. I think we got the momentum. I think it's going to start to happen. And I'm going to write that as pretty soon. Show logs. They're where they always are, right up
Very
above us
helpful.
here. Yeah, Jack DeGoldie does a great job of doing that.
They're on they're in all the YouTube videos too.
Yes.
Every video on YouTube has a comment with the show notes, which is time logged.
Right.
So if you see something you like, you click the time, boom, it immediately plays the video at that time.
And next week we'll prove how well that works.
Oh yeah, we're going to use it. We're going to make use of it.
Yes, okay. We also, of course, have our podcast, which you can get on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, ewebs.podbean.com. And take our survey.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Helps shape the show a little bit and make sure that you're liking the content and our sponsors. Our sponsors want to know if you're interested in what they do.
Absolutely. And if you're fascinated by this show and how it's done in this palace of a studio that we have, and you'd like to join us here in Sherman Oaks for a live show, and you're going to be here in the greater Los Angeles area.
Say palace again.
Palace. Okay.
Sorry.
I just had to do that.
I have a
didn't
button that makes an echo, so I had to.
Yeah. If you'd like to join us, if you live here in LA or in Southern California, or you're going to be visiting, because I know people visit and they want to come see the show, write to us at theguys@VOBS.tv and say, hey, I'm going to be there. Can I be in the... And we got a couch. You can sit here.
And air conditioning and snacks.
Right. And Andrew.
And water.
And all sorts of cool stuff.
Not in that order.
Right. Alrighty, so do that. We need to thank our sponsors, too.
Yes, we do.
Like Harlan Hogan's Voiceover Essentials.
Voiceover Extra.
Source Elements.
VODOJO, and the Rehearsal Lab.
Right. The VODOJO and Voice Actor websites for providing the uninterrupted stream that you are seeing right now. We really appreciate that.
The only interruption was from me running out to the bathroom.
Yeah.
How professional.
That was incredibly professional. At least you handled it with grace, and that's the most important thing. Of course, we'd like to thank Marcy for letting us be out here in the garage and opening the door so you go to the bathroom. Our producer, Catherine Curran, for doing great job of finding us great guests like Tish Hicks. And
chat room duty was
you. It was you tonight.
Yours truly.
Right. And, of course, our amazing floor director, Andrew Bushwitz, who did just a yeoman's job tonight.
He always does.
Yes.
When he's not here, I miss him terribly.
Yes, we found that out. And, of course, Jack DeGolia for keeping track with those show notes, and Lee Pinney for simply being Lee Pinney. Come visit us, Lee, please. All right, that's going to do it for us this week. Again, we know this isn't an easy business. You got to work hard. You got to train hard. You got to learn all the different facets like Tish and I were talking about tonight. And that's what's going to make you successful. But if you have stuff with tech, come here and we'll try to keep you straight on it. I'm Dan Leonard.
And I'm George Whittam.
And this is Voiceover
Body Shop,
or VOBS. See you next week, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us once again for another episode of Voiceover Body Shop.